Yeah, so I'm going to talk to you about packaging. I'm looking at the slides right now. They are really not that great, so I mean, I don't know if I'm going to keep being a software engineer, seeing as I can't use an HDMI output. I'll probably be a really good stand-up comedian, so. So who here has already done packaging in their lives? Okay, so I'm in the right bedroom. So it's basically, people have given up on it's basically turning an upstream package into a downstream package. So you take code upstream and you make it available for your distribution. So it involves a lot of debugging because software doesn't just work out of the box. That never happens. And it means you have to send patches to the upstream developers. You have to maintain them. So that's the basic idea of packaging, right? Is it hard? I have things to actually show you, but is it hard? Would you say it's hard to package software?
Depends how shady the software is.
Software is. Okay. The issue is that you have a lot of pieces of software to package today, and they come from very different sources. So I'll be focusing in this talk on public package archives, such as CPAN for Perl, or PyPI for Python, and that kind of stuff, so NPM, that kind of things. You have many different targets, so you have to package software for Debian, Fedora, PX. You might use one operating system at home and a different one at work, and you might want to use the same piece of software, so you might have to do packaging for different operating systems. You can't really automate everything, because debugging cannot really be done by a machine yet, otherwise you'd be out of a job. And you often end up in dependency hell, where you want to package X and you have to package Y and you have to update the package Z or whatever. But some tasks can be automated. Think of a Debian package. So if you don't do Debian packaging, bear with me. It starts with creating a folder called Debian, and then you have to put 27 different files in there. And some files just have 9 in there, just why not? I work at Red Hat, and I'm not afraid to say this on camera. I use Debian, so I click on Debian, though I like it. So I also use Gig, so you know. So basically, this can be done by a machine, and you have a lot of things that's just what's the name of the package, what's the version of the package, what's the email of the author, and that can easily be automated. You can have a script do this kind of work for you. So over the years, people have used scripts, have written and used scripts that grab a package from PyPI, from Ruby, and turn it into an almost working Debian package or Fedora package. Has anyone ever written or used a tool like that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So has anyone written a tool like that?
Yeah.
Which one?
Well, I wrote developer differently because it's for empty.
Okay.
I wrote no to mix. That's basically.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm going to tell you why you are wrong. Keep in mind that I started by doing the same. So this is something I wanted to show you. Maybe if I fold up my no, that's so the thing is, you have to imagine that we basically do. There's one tool for that maps between a public package archive and a distribution. So if you have n package archives and n distribution, you have n times m tools. Okay. You don't need the slides.
Do you have slides online?
Yeah, the slides are on my FOSDEM page if you want to follow along. I'm basically at page 8. So you have to imagine you have a huge table full of tools. So basically you want to package Python packages on Debian, you have your tool. You want to package JavaScript packages on Fedora, you have your tool. Why is it terrible? You have, thank you. I started 2 minutes ago, come on. You have one CLI per tool. So if you want to use multiple tools, you have to learn how to use each and every one of these tools, and you have to remember the command line options. So different CLI, different behaviors. Some tools might run tests, some tools might create directories, some tools might not. So you don't really know what to expect. And there's code duplication. So all the tools that read metadata from PyPI will write hash-to-pass metadata on PyPI, so that's code duplication. All the tools that you can use on Debian will have a code that's basically make dear Debian and echo whatever to Debian slash rules and stuff like that. So that's code duplication in two different parts. And you might think, is it bad to have code duplication? Because things are really simple. And if you were in school, teachers would tell you, you do not want to copy-paste code. But in real life,
we're talking about like thousands of packages, so it's huge code duplication actually.
yeah, but there's only one tool that maps between, for say, PyPI and Debian, and then there's one tool that maps between PyPI and Fedora to create a package. So there's a huge table of, so you have to imagine you have a list of package archives and you have a list of distributions, and that's a huge table that you can see on page 8 of the slides that are shown not here. So is it really bad to copy-paste a little bit? And so this is where I have code to show you, but I'm going to describe code to you. So PyPI, just like a lot of package archives, gives you a JSON file that has a lot of metadata in it. And it has the dependencies of your package. That really matters. In this JSON, for some packages on PyPI, you get the list of dependencies. You're really happy with that. It's just one field to read in a JSON file. It's really easy code. And you're like, well, maybe you could duplicate that. It doesn't really matter. But on some other packages, for reasons that I don't understand, and if someone can explain that to me after the talk because I'm running out of time, that I would be glad to understand why. For some packages, the JSON file does not have the list of dependencies in it, so you're not getting it. What you can do is download the Python wheel. So if you don't know what a Python wheel, it doesn't matter. I'm a Python software developer. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's a file format for Python that is great for many reasons, and in 5 years they'll use something different because everything has to keep changing all the time, so no worries. It's basically a zip file technically, so you can unzip that file and the metadata you're looking for can be found there. So you have to do one thing. If it doesn't work, you can do a second thing. And I'm a really annoying person, so I found other packages where the first method doesn't work, the second method doesn't work. And basically what you can do is try to read the source code and find out what the dependencies are. Good luck, because it means actually running code, and that's extremely unsafe, and that's difficult anyway. So basically, you have to try one thing, try a second thing, try the third thing I haven't thought of, and you can do one step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and that's really complex, and you have to write unit tests, and you do not want to do this for all the distributions out there. You'd much rather have one single tool that says, hey, yeah, I can get you metadata from PyPI, it does all the crazy work, and then you can use it on Debian, you can use it on Fedora or whatever you want. So, to sum up, what do we really want? We want a unified CLI. You want a tool, you can say, I want a package that's available on PyPI, and the distribution I use is Debian, it's Fedora, it's OpenBSD. We want a unified behavior, so we want to be able to know that what's happening is going to happen the exact same way for all distributions. We want something that's modular, because we want a module that can read PyPI. We want another module that can read Ruby gems, another module that can read the Perl archive, and gather metadata. And then we want a module that can write a Debian package, a module that can write a spec file, a module that can write a Makefile for OpenBSD. And we want something simple. So, is there such a tool? No. End of talk. Bye. So there wasn't, and I decided to write one because, as the fine gentleman over there, I started by writing a tool in Gigs that was just mapping from one archive to one distribution, in this case Gigs. And I thought, yeah, that's basically nobody is going to reuse the work I've done on PyPI, and it was a huge pain in the, well, so maybe I could share that work with some other people. And here, as we can see on slide 17, so the idea is just what I've explained. So you start with modules that read metadata provided by your public archive. These modules send all that data to the core of the tool I wrote, which in turn sends it to a bunch of backends that create packages. So there's we have a few backends. So for instance, so my tool is called the Universal Packaging Tool because I have no ideas for naming stuff. In short, it's UPT. And I have another user called UPT-PyPI, which passes PyPI, UPT-CPAN, that does the same for CPAN. And then I have UPT-OpenBSD, that creates an OpenBSD makefile, and so on and so on. Is that clear about the slides? It's basically, you can think of it as a compiler, but in a compiler the front ends are the languages and the back ends are the hardware architectures. And here the front ends are the public package archives and the back ends are your distribution. Yeah, so I wrote this as a proof of concept. I have 3 backends for CPAN, PyPI, three front ends for CPAN, PyPI, and Ruby gems. And I have 5 backends for Fedora, FreeBSD, Gix, Nix, and OpenBSD. So it works. You just have to use the UPT package command. It's all in the slides that you will be reading in the train or in the plane when you're bored to death and going home. You just give it a dash front end option that says, oh, I want to package something in some PyPI. A dash back end option that says, oh, I want to package it for OpenBSD. And it will create all the files you need. I'm really proud of this because first I was supposed to show you a makefile for OpenBSD and you're like, yeah, you see it's almost complete and well the packager can just review it and fix the very little things that could not be automated. But I won't be able to do it and you have to believe me, the makefile is amazing. It's much easier this way. I'm going to use faulty HDMI cables in all my talks now. And yeah, then I would show you that by replacing OpenBSD with Nix, you would generate something that would work in Nix. That was fantastic, but you won't get to see it. So about modularity, what's really interesting is that the modules are distributed in their own Git repositories. Why is it great? It means you do not have to ask upstream, that is me, to include your work if you want to create a new language that has its own public archive, or if you're creating a new distro. You can just write your own stuff, use the technology you want as long as it's Python, but you can use the test runners you want, you can use the coding style you want, you can use type hints, you can use Python too if you're crazy. But you have a bit more freedom with regards to technical choices and you can run your own project. And the idea also is that if you're a Debian developer, you do not have to agree with Fedora developers on how to do things. And same if you run a PyPI or Ruby gems or anything. So it means you can collaborate with other people without actually having to agree with them, which is probably great because humans are generally not good. I mean, we've been waging wars for thousands of years for stupid reasons. I mean, I've given up hopes. So it's easy for small projects. You can be independent. Who thought, wow, this guy, so you'll remember me because I'm the guy with no slides, but who thought, hey, on top of having no slides, this guy made an excellent point. We should ditch all the crazy tools we had and use his tool. Who's like, yeah, oh fuck. So, has there been anyone thinking this? There's a whole interest, do you know Cookie Cutter? It's a tool that allows you to create skeletons for projects. So there's a cookie cutter available that allows you to create either a front end or a back end. So you just fill in you have to answer a few questions and it creates all the code is ready to go. You just have to fill in the parts that seem interesting. So you can do that. I would have talked to you about different tools that's called FPM, but it's not so good. You can look it up. Basically, it generates binary packages rather than source packages, so you can't use it to submit patches to your distributions, and that's why I don't really like it. Yeah, so future work, and then we'll have questions. Something that would really be great if it's people from PyPI and Ruby gems and CPAN, etc. I mean, they all provide the same thing. They provide a JSON file with the name of the package, the version, the name of the author, that kind of thing. But in a different format every time, which means you have to pass, you have to write a different JSON parser, basically. Not a full JSON parser, but a metadata parser. It would be great if we could all agree on a single format for metadata and have this shared amongst all public archives. Which means if you create a new language, a new archive, you just use the same format and you'd be compatible with magic tools such as the one I've written. I'm not sure it's going to happen though. So do you have any people who run PI, CPAN or stuff in the room? Yeah, so that's not going to happen. That would be great though. I mean, if you've got no questions, you can close your eyes and drink for a few minutes, but people have questions. No.
If additionally all these tools agree on the same packaging, the tool that's useless.
So I have 2 users other than me. Yep.
I really like to commend you on your presentation. I think it's much better without the slides. I've seen some of the slides. You know, you explain it so well. Perfect.
Yeah, so I have to repeat this for the This guy said, could you please stay for another 2 hours? I really like it. I'd love to have lunch with you. Could you come back next year, be on the main track? I can do that. Yeah, you wanted to ask a serious question. Well, too late.
Who's your target audience?
Debian maintainers, Debian developers, Fedora, all the people who have to package stuff and who, I mean, let's be real, when you go to a web page and you manually copy-paste the version of the package, the name of the author, you're not playing with your kids, you're not playing the guitar, you're not doing anything interesting with your life. The interesting part of that packaging is the result and maybe doing some debugging at some point. And so the target audience is also people who use the tools I would have shown you that already exist, because I've tried some of them, and I'm pretty sure some of them, none of them will give you all the info you need. The thing that's really important is that if someone sends me a path for upt-PyPI, so the tool that passes PyPI, if the improvement will be available for all distributions. So that's a way of sharing all this code. And currently, well, you'd have to update your own tool, and Fedora developers would have to update their own. And even if you fix a bug in the generation of the Fedora package, you'd have to put that change in many different tools. Here, by not duplicating code, we make sure that nobody loses too much time. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm maintaining a generator, and while I do agree with you that it's a great thing for Sam to be able to share metadata and also with multiple targets, because lots of these concepts are quite similar. But for example, for NPM, I encountered some really weird issues like circular dependencies. They don't translate well to what conventional package managers distributions do. And also, for example, how version ranges are resolved. That's also weird. Sometimes in NPM, version range can resolve to a existing version, not necessarily the latest version. I also thought about dealing with such corner cases.
So the question is basically, so someone is maintaining a similar tool and says, oh, I have issues with NPM because there are circular dependencies and weird stuff, basically. So the thing is, if it's hard, it's going to be hard for all the tools that have to deal with NPM. So the idea is that we do the hard stuff only once. I do not know exactly how it works in NPM because I didn't write an NPM backend. I'm allergic to JavaScript. There's a note from my doctor saying I'm not sick. You know you're at a nerd conference when people are like, JavaScript sucks. That's all the rage nowadays in computer programming. So no, I don't know exactly, but I think if you took the time to figure out some of these issues, it would be great to be able to share the code and make it available to other people, because I think you do not hate anyone enough to wish for them to spend time solving the same issues as you on NPM.
It's quite terrible.
He has a few ideas of people he hates. Okay. You in the back?
I'm curious what needs to be done to add a new backend. And the second question is, what would be the idea, like how would you imagine updating stuff? Like, even if you do have a generic format, the distribution still wants to add specific data, like who's maintaining that package or what specific dependency names that you cannot know in the generic format. Like, our biggest problem is we have something like 1,200 Word packages, and then when somebody didn't maintain them for a while, there are 200 that need updating. And we would really like to, let's say, optimize that step. How would you do
What
that?
distribution are you talking about?
Backwards?
Okay. Yeah, so the question is, so there are multiple questions. First one is, how hard is it to add a module, basically? Do you have a laptop and a couple hours? Because we can do that in the corridor if you want.
That would be awesome.
Okay, anyone who wants to have a hackathon with me and miss. So there's a cookie cutter project, and there's, I think, good documentation, as I'm showing you actually, I think. So there's a cookie cutter, and you can create a skeleton for your project, and then, yeah, I kind of have lied to you because the naming conventions for packages differ in distributions depending on whether you use a Python package or a Ruby package. So some of the info that's passed to the backends is, hey, this package comes from PyPI, and you have to do a little bit of glue to say, yeah, okay, the naming convention will be this. I cannot show you the code right now, but in OpenBSD, basically, I need a few classes, like I have a Python class, and it's just a few methods, and most of the work is done in a generic class. So I think we completely reduce code duplication, even though it's not magical. I think there is no time for any more questions, but I'm available. If you do not want to see the next talk, if that does, what is it about? Is it really interesting? Wouldn't you want to have a hackathon in the corridor? I don't know. The next speaker hates me.